Hello everyone, this is Maurizio, Marketing Director at EPC, and today I am here at EPC headquarters, El Segundo, California, United States, and I got the honor to be here with Shengke Zhang, Vice President Reliability Team. Hi Shengke, welcome aboard. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, and you? Everything is good?
Yeah, perfect.
So, let's start. I have a couple. We will talk about GaN, cryogenic GaN in particular. But before that, Schengen, please introduce yourself. Tell us more about you and your role, your activities.
Yeah, at the EPC, I'm in charge of product reliability and the product qualification, including gallium nitride transistors and integrated circuit products. In addition to that, my team also responsible for all the customer returns and RMAs and internal and external fit analysis. Additionally, my team is also conducting a lot of fundamental GaN-related research in reliability and device physics that captures most of my functions, my team's functions at EPC.
Very good. So let's talk about your latest paper about GaN at 4 Kelvin, so cryogenic temperature. So let's talk about that. Why is operating a power converter at 4 Kelvin such as an important element, is important breakthrough?
Yes, speaking of 4 Kelvin, it's actually come full circle, because my graduate research was done on quantum computers. I work with liquid helium in a daily basis, which is 4 Kelvin degrees. Specific for this project, because developing an operational converter at 4 Kelvin has never been done before. And also, second, I want to highlight the significance of 4 Kelvin degrees. First, room temperature, give you some background. Room temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, which is equivalent of 300 Kelvin compared to absolute 0 degree. One critical milestone, just give you some background, in superconducting history is the developing a superconductor that can operate or become superconducting at 77 Kelvin, which is liquid nitrogen temperature. That was a critical milestone. YBCO was the material, which is something I worked on in grad school, was the primary superconductors that operates at or be about 77 Kelvin. Additionally, a lot of fundamental superconducting research was done at 4 Kelvin because one of the primary superconductors is niobium, which becomes superconducting at 9.2 Kelvin. So 4 Kelvin is also the liquid helium temperature. I spent a lot of time in grad school studying. So that's why 4 Kelvin is a critical temperature point for all the superconducting research. That's why we are focusing on this at this point.
Thank you.
Temperature.
Thank you. Great. And talking about GaN into specific, what makes GaN solution better than better suited than silicon MOSFET, silicon technology for cryogenic application?
Very good question. Just for in terms of conventional silicon MOSFET, in silicon, because it relies on this majority or minority carriers to conduct current. However, these carriers, first, the mobility significantly decreases at lower temperatures. Additionally, they freeze out at or near 4 Kelvin degrees. In contrast, as compared to GaN MOSFET, GaN HEMTs.
Yeah.
So the conduction of the channel relies on two-dimensional electron gas, which is generated by this piezoelectric field between the aluminum gallium nitride and gallium nitride layer. So therefore, because the fundamental differences of the carriers or conducting carriers, so the two-dimensional electron gas or 2DAG, they do not freeze out at 4 Kelvin. That's why GaN is well suited for this 4 Kelvin application.
Great, thank you, Shengke. And talking about challenges. So in terms of engineering challenge, so what were the biggest engineering challenges in building a fully functional 4 Kelvin power converters beyond the semiconductor itself?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest engineering challenges during the development of this work is the wiring and the selection of the peripheral components that can also reliably working at 4 Kelvin. That's actually the biggest challenge. Additionally, if you look at what we have identified, so a lot of or significant portion of power losses is actually attributed to the wiring and the peripheral components.
And talking about applications, so which future applications, also current application, you mentioned the technology behind. Do you think will benefit the most from this technology, this solution, and why?
I'll say quantum computers and the deep space explorations are likely to benefit the most from this from our GaN technology. First, for deep space exploration, because at that environment, at the ambient temperature is nearly absolute 0 degrees. Therefore, identifying and utilizing semiconductor components that can reliably operate at that temperature is critical for this application. GaN is well suited for this application. Additionally, for quantum computers, because a lot of quantum computers in the market is based on superconducting based quantum computers. They rely on superconductor to maintain superconducting at the temperatures, specifically at now they're talking about millikelvin range, basically almost near exactly 0 degree Kelvin. So that's why GaN is also very suited for this application because carrier, they do not freeze out at the temperature. So to maintain the qubit coherence at those temperatures.
So we have written a blog post on our website, so please check for more information. So Shengke, about this project, what's next now? So which are the next step in terms of so engineering, in terms of layout, circuit?
I think there are two parts. So the initial paper was published in ISPSD, a conference paper. So after the conclusion of that conference paper, we also took additional data and conducted additional analysis. So the additional study has been submitted to IEEE Transactions of Power Electronics, a very prestigious journal publication. The first decision is actually positive. The revision is currently under review. Hopefully, we will have the paper accepted soon. Additionally, for the next milestone, one thing we are currently looking at is to implementing our full-blown monolithic power stage and then repeat the study at 4 Kelvin degrees. That'll be very, very exciting.
Good. Last one to conclude, Shengke. So you are the reliability man, reliability expert. So what's next? So in terms of reliability activities from your team?
Yeah, so there are a few things my team is currently working on. One is that because we have done a lot of fundamental research regarding drain intrinsic wear out, gate intrinsic wear out. So, but however, how to accurately use all this element and predict system level, especially for AI applications, that's actually a critical challenge for us. I think we have a lot of good ideas. We have done a lot of work, and more is in process. So that's one direction my team is currently working on to applying what we have learned to predict system level reliability and lifetime. Second is that the short circuit, especially in low voltage GaN devices, has been something people may have overlooked before. My team are spending a lot of effort to investigate and understand the underlying failure mechanisms in low voltage short circuit robustness and reliability. And we have a lot of good study in the pipeline, and stay tuned. So we most likely will have a lot of exciting publications coming along.
Very good, absolutely. So, Shengke, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure talking with you, and stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.